Hey folks, Dude here. Coming to you again. Another edition of Dude After Dark. Today's iteration is going to be brought to you by the letters C and A and T. Yes, it's going to be brought to you by the letters of cat. Yeah, spotlighting him. He's not crazy about that one. All right, so looking at things coming down the pike, there's a lot of scuttlebutt floating around about all the various ins and outs and what have yous in terms of viral this and getting shots for that or mask mandates for this, that, and the other thing. I really only got one thing to say about the mask mandates and all the rest of that fun falderall. Any box you look at, it pretty much states this is for dust protection. This is for, protecting you from particulate matter. There's nowhere on the box does it say this will protect you from viral infections. Mostly because there really is not that many masks around that can protect you from something that is that bitty trying to get through the pores of all the fibrous material to get to you, okay? So I usually jokingly refer to it, and I've gotten many, many people laughing about this, is you're trying to keep the mosquitoes out of your yard using chain link fence. It's really kind of a not very well thought out plan of action to say, yep, I'm going to be wearing a mask. I'll be safe from XYZ, PDQ, and all the rest of the falderall and various noxious submissions from others. And it just doesn't work like that. Patriot Fever coming in the room. Appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. I have somebody else hanging out on the outside. If you do wish to come in the chat room and make your commentary known, do be sure to do so or observe at your leisure. And I appreciate anybody's kind attendance, anybody's kind attentions. And let's just kick this can on down the road and see what we find. Okay, so looking at stuff as it is. Wow, this is majorly huge. This came out on September 1. I cannot do this any justice, simply express it to you guys exactly what I found on the news medium, of which it is, being Team Tucker Carlson, who is referring to a tweet by Alexander Tin. I don't know who this person is, but at Alexander_Tin on Twitter. And the Food and Drug Administration, this is coming from Team Tucker Carlson, like I said, Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, in case you don't know, top two vaccine officials are resigning from the agency. A top leader said with the agency told the staff in a letter on Tuesday. This story being posted up on August 31, so just a few days ago. And Marian Gruber, director of the Office of Vaccine Research and Review, or the OVRR. Oh, that reads that. What do you do? Oh, I work for Over. Okay, so Marian Gruber, director of Office of Vaccine Research and Review, so the OVRR, and Phil Krause, OVRR deputy director, will leave the FDA at the end of October and in November, respectively. Gruber has been at the FDA for 32 years, and Krause has worked at the agency for more than a decade. So the quote from this Alexander Tin character says, at US_FDA spokesperson confirms the departure of at FDA CBER apostrophes. So FDA CBERS, Dr. Marian Gruber and Dr. Phil Krause. Email from Dr. Peter Marks announcing the two retirements. Okay. Let's just pull the curtain back just a little bit here. And Curious Entertainment, appreciate you hanging out with me tonight, dude. Let's just pull the curtain back just a little bit and see pretty much how things are. Sound guy, don't pull it back that far, okay? Jeez. Donnie C, appreciate you coming on by, dude. So anyway, pulling things back thusly. Sound guy, I said pull it back, not rip it. Never mind. Sound guy's being sound guy. Oh, would you stop, okay? Stop that, okay? Stop with the Sarakanas. Okay, so anyway, email from Dr. Peter Marks announcing the two retirements. Quote, I'm doing air quotes, quote, unquote, early retirements, calls Dr. Gruber's departure, quote, a huge loss, end quote, and thanks Dr. Krause for, quote, incredible contributions to public health, end quote. This is sound remarkably like yeah. They met the Spanish archer. You know, the Spanish archer. Elbow. Boop, out the door they go. And there's this long drawn out thing where the guy does like, some copy, cut, paste of, the public announcement, all the CCs, BCCs, subject, these people leaving, what have you. I see the writing on the wall. What I see right here is these two people were like, yeah, this information is sketch. Let's get the real information out there. Let everybody know what the real deal is here. We're going to be completely honest. And there really is no reason for us to frost this cake of, how do I say this without saying this? How do I frost this big stinking pile with a big pile of frosting and make it not smell like? Yeah, we're talking about these guys behind the scenes were like, okay, the information that you're supplying is sketch. And we tend to think that the stuff that you're saying to the public might exactly not be the most truthful. We have dissenting opinions and we have secondary information, which might make the public discourse different than the standard line of which you guys have been expressing thus far. And they said, oh, no, oh, hell no. You two guys need to volunteer for exit options, and they probably got the early option of retirement versus being unceremoniously booted. When somebody, quote unquote, retires from the government, they don't retire. They're forced out, okay? Because I can tell you for a fact, Mrs. Dude, for her to retire right now, she would take a major pay cut, okay? She needs actually to work to retirement age, which kind of sucks. But that's the situation in the contract that she has signed up onto for her retirement options. I mean, she could retire at an earlier age, but it's just how much do you really get? Anybody worth their salt is definitely going to sell their labors for the highest possible quantity they're in. They're not going to give themselves up for cheap. And it doesn't pass the, it just doesn't pass the smell test, guys. Okay. It really doesn't. In fact, it could be said that they were called upon to fall upon their sword early in their career and
fatality.
Well, yeah, I think that was definitely it, because if they didn't, yeah, it's yeah, that would have been it. Their careers would have been over. And they would have been unceremoniously tossed out the door. Gator Red, appreciate you coming by tonight, dude. Well, I bet it would go get really bad soon. Jet engine failed, left a recording to play on after you jumped out using only parachute and plane. We're going to crash land. Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay, sure. But yeah, it sounded sketch when I first saw it. And on second reflection, it really, really sounds sketch. So it can be said that these guys not bailing out, but being forced to leave. And it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. They did not leave, under their own choices. They were probably told, guess what? You're retiring. Yeah. So that's anyway, that's how that one's going. I don't know if you guys caught up on this one, but well-intended AFT leader, David Chipmunk, Chipman, also known as the Waco murdering, I really want to curse here, but the Waco murdering dirtbag that wants to run the ATF, who is seen to be a raging anti-gun racist pile of, let's just say, steaming pile. Okay. So anyway, he and his lame shot spotter, which has been just found to be unbelievably inaccurate for finding like active fire areas. Literally what the system is it hears a gunshot, it echolocates or it transmogrifies on the sound waves and goes, oh, I have a good idea. It came from this block of operation, or it came from over that area. Because of the echolocation services, we know that sound travels X amount of known quantity per speed of feet per minute. And we can go, it took this many microseconds for this microphone, that microphone, these three other microphones pick it up. So we can triangulate it being there in this block of operation. Well, the story has come out now that this shot spotter thing uh, obviously didn't work. And actually, the truth of the matter is they actually used it to set some people up and unceremoniously cook their goose in a court of law, saying, "Oh yeah, well, G. Roy and Dog Bag here. These two guys are known bad guys on the street." And we have the shot spotter finding gunshots in their area of operation. So we tend to think that these are the guys who are doing the shooting at the time of the blah, blah, blah. And these guys are like, dude, no, we weren't anywhere even near that area. I don't know what your shot spotter thing is saying. And now it's going to be one of those things where they found out that they're falsifying the results of this thing, saying, the shot happened in this area and whatnot. And a couple of cops, I think, actually got in trouble too because of that one. So anyway, it is looking very, very slim and not good in his options to be the guy running the AFT. Now, there's a reason why I say AFT. It's because that is the way it's referred to by Joe Kaka. Joe Kaka refers to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms as the AFT, okay? So anytime that you say you're speaking about the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, you have to refer to it as the AFT because most importantly, that's what he calls it, okay? So if anybody knows better than that's right, it's going to be Joe Kaka. So if you're talking about the BATF, it's not the BATF, it's the AFT because only he would know not how to say it properly, but only Mr. Joe could ever say the name of a firearms agency in the regulation of anything bang bang or associated with bang bang in the U.S. government. Only Joe Kaka would know how to say it correctly as the AFT. Let's see. Patriot Fever have a problem. My 17-month redhead child just drank a cup of coffee and wants more. Oh no! Oh, jeez. Pretty soon you're gonna hear all kinds of interesting noises. I'm tending to think it's gonna sound very much like it's going to sound like that. And then probably you're going to have the kid going, I'm amped up like crazy. I'm going to run on crazy juice. And then, yeah, they're going to run out of juice. So I wouldn't worry about it too long about that one there, Patriot Favor. The kid's going to be running around like crazy, like a rat on crack. And he'll run out of juice eventually. And then it's just going to be like, Patriot sounds more like Star Trek warp engines. Yeah, that's not the best copy. I got to get a better one, but that is literally like, the coyote chasing the road runner. And of course, the good sound effects, them chasing each other. And of course, there's the long fall. It's a strip from a cartoon I got a while ago. And I actually probably need to find a better one, where they basically have the whole, the whole wind up where you hear like, basically, the road runner tearing ass and the coyote's like trying to catch him. I need to get a better copy on that one. I'll put that in my list of stuff. But yeah, anyway, so David Chipman is looking very not possible for running the AFT. Wait a minute, you're saying Star Trek. Do I actually have any Star Trek? Let's see. Do I actually have any Star Trek? Looking in the sound file catalog. I don't know, dude. Would I actually have any Star Trek? Yeah, that's about that was from Cable Guy, but I think that's funny as hell to throw that in there. Anyway, I love the fight music. The really cheesy 60s chop socky, all campy and whatnot. It's just absolutely hilarious to watch those guys duking out like that. Anyway, I don't know if you guys saw this one or not. This is actually a restaurant where is this one? Hang on a second. It's a restaurant in DeBary, so DeBary, DeBary, Florida, and it's called the DeBary Diner. And there's a lady who runs the place by the name of Angie Ugarte, and she runs the place, and she put a sign in the window. Oh, my stars and garters, this is smacking them exactly where they live. And it says, quote, if you voted for and continue to support and stand behind the worthless, inept, and corrupt administration currently inhabiting the White House that is complicit in the death of our servicemen and women in Afghanistan, please take your business elsewhere. Now, the way things worked out for this restaurant is they actually had to close. And everybody's just like, oh no, what could have possibly have happened to this restaurant? Could they have had an issue with, I don't know, like something really, really, really going wrong with everybody just going in there and just, yeah. Okay, no, that's not the problem at all. People eating. It's the problem is everybody ate everything in the place. They literally ordered all the food. They ate the place to the bare bones. There is no food left in the place. They had to close to restock because people were ordering and sending meals off to members of the military who were injured or who were healing or what have you. This place got hammered, absolutely hammered, cleaned out, and in the best of ways made that they had to close. Literally, like the Patriot Fever said in the room, they just ran out of food. Curious Entertainment says, what's your thoughts on the coup currently happening in Guinea? I didn't know there was a coup in Guinea, so it can't be really that big a deal for me, but hang on a second. Let me close some windows here. I don't want to have this thing crash and burn on me. Let's see. Let me keep myself honest here. So, coup in Guinea. It's Guinea. So, Gineaa. I've been watching entirely too much William Buckley, so now I'm starting to kind of speak like William Buckley. The coup in Guinea could raise car prices or foster better deal for its people. Oh, great. Military declared a coup. Yipes. I'll look it up real fast on NPR. One day, military stormed the president of Guinea's palace, took him out into custody. Coup leader ordered ministers from the ousted government not to depart the country, hand over official vehicles. This, that, and the other. Well, yeah, was this Guinea or New Guinea? I mean, this looks like it's a very African area. Okay, I'm gonna keep myself honest here. Okay, I'm actually gonna look up the geographical location of Guinea. It's West Africa. Oh, it's near Sierra Leone. Okay, that's what it is. Okay. But yeah, it's on the horn, underneath the Horn of Africa. So let's see. So West Coast, right by Liberia, Sierra Leone. Okay. My feelings on it, Curious Entertainment. Let's just look at this long and hard, okay? You have a country on the west coast of Africa. It's bordered by Sierra Leone and Liberia. Two countries that have really not been the most peaceful of places for like the last 50 years. To the southeast of that, you have Cote d'Ivoire. I really, truly don't see that place quieting down anytime soon. And it's nothing new, dude. I mean, you have the Zulu and the Xhosa have been chasing each other for thousands of years. The Hutu and the other guys basically chasing each other around for years and years and years. It's not going to be a quiet place anytime soon because the Africans have a really bad habit of just simply duking it out with each other and letting the white guy come in and take all their mineral wealth as opposed to simply just going, you know what? Let's get rich off these guys. They just don't do that. They tend to basically feed off one another. They're really like a bucket of crabs. There's a reason why you never have to put a lid on a bucket of crabs. It's because the crabs keep pulling each other back in and nobody gets a chance to climb out. So the saddest damn thing I can tell you, and I've spoken with many Africans and they've definitely confirmed it. It's like, the very simple fact is these guys really just can't look long view at improving the place in which they are. It's sad. I mean, it's like one of the richest nations in terms of mineral wealth on the planet. They just can't get their act together. And it's just sad. I mean, I get along famously with Africans. Obviously, I'm well knowledged in geography. I know African geography fairly well. If nothing else, I can look it up on a map and I instantly recognize the place. And I got to tell you for a fact, man, that whole area has been nothing but a hotbed of just sincere internecine and tribal warfare since Christ was a cadet. I mean, that's just the simplest, easiest way to explain it is that area has just been duking it out for freaking ever. It's not going to settle down anytime soon. And the thing that really truly sucks is they're actually a nation with ocean areas of which to run stuff to and from. They could be sucking down some serious fundage by, extracting mineral wealth and selling it on the world market. But these guys just don't do that. They don't see the forest for the trees in front of them, and they don't look long view at improving their basic lifestyle. They just don't. It's just really sad. What about the Wachutu and the Wachati? Again, groups of basically guys have been kicking each other's ass for freaking ever. That's just how it is. Oh man. But anyway, this Dabari diner is looking long view and simply just having to repurpose and refuel and keep selling like crazy because apparently there's enough people really pissed off that really truly want to send a message to Washington, D.C. I watched a video earlier. Excuse me 1 second here. I got the sippy bottle this time. And the thing about it is there's been numerous, and I do mean numerous football games. And I really, truly cannot play the video live copy on my podcast because I try to keep it PG-13. And let's just say that they named Joe Kaka in name, and they say the Fakaka, they say Fakaka Duty Joe Biden as a chant. And this has been happening at numerous games where the crowd is just saying F word Joe Biden, F word Joe Biden, F word Joe Biden. This is not something that's just, a minor amount of groundswell. This is the population at all in the United States now getting very, very annoyed with the guy who's running things or not running things or trying to run things or in the process of running things completely just, putting a kibosh on any form of successful iteration of the country functioning correctly. It's not working out for the guys in DC right now. Not at all. It's not working out for them very well at all. When you have open, complete, and absolute disregard for a sitting president and they're being that blatant about it, people are pissed. People are really pissed. Let's see. Scrolly. I don't know if you heard about this one or not, but of course, all the you have all the various recounts and the investigations and the election results. Well, the Democrat Party's got a little bit of trouble happening in Tennessee as well now. Yes, the Democrat Party was found guilty of election violations. The FEC rules. Tennessee Democrats tried to cover up, quote, misreported millions, end quote. This story coming in on September 1st. Reading this from PatriotJournal.com. Says the end result, the DNC has admitted its guilt. So back in January, FEC commissioners voted unanimously that it had, quote, reason to believe the Tennessee Democrat Party had and was in violation of the law. That's because the party reportedly failed to report total receipts and disbursements and also failed to itemize receipts received via joint fundraising transfers. Millions of dollars were in question in this investigation. Why does this not seem just blatantly obvious that when you have the Democrat Party really getting desperate here, they'll pull out all the stops and they'll just do anything possible to be sketch. And they'll do something so above board and dare the enforcing groups to find them guilty of something. And then when they're caught, they're like, yeah, okay, well, it happened. We're sorry if you were offended by the fact that you got us caught in this thing. Never admit guilt but apologize in some roundabout way that sounds almost like it's a genuine apology when it's really simply not. It's just a fake, farcical assertion of, oh, yeah, well, we did it. We're sorry. Now, you're not sorry, okay? You're basically giving, well, mouth operation to make people believe that you said something. But when it comes right down to it, you really didn't apologize. You're guilty as hell. But anyway, the Democrat Party of Tennessee has agreed to pay a 6-figure fine to settle a federal election commission case alleging that it misrepresented millions of dollars in campaign funds, according to new FEC documents. Okay, a 6-figure fine. You know what? If they really truly wanted to do this right, what they would do is the FEC would say, okay, you did something illegal in the amount of $6 million. Okay, you had a profit gain of $6 million. Guess what? Your fine is going to be $6,000,001, just to make sure that you know that you did not profit from this, and you are going to resist the fact to do this again, because when you do this, you won't make a dime. In fact, you're going to be down $1. And if you do it again, we'll just simply keep adding on digits until finally we're talking like, on top of the $1 million of which you were ahead of the game, you're now default. We're going to make it cost even more of that. What they really should say is, okay, we caught you this time. It cost you $6 million, basically, and more. Guess what? You do that again, we're going to double the amount. If you do it again, we're going to triple the amount. If you do it again, we're going to quadruple the amount. Until such point in time that you guys go bankrupt, destitute, and there is no amount of guys that basically throw money at you that can bail you out of the hole which you just dug yourself in. That's really what needs to happen. Then that money that the FEC collects should be put to a good use and not thrown into the general slush fund, which, then, of course, every politician is just like, we got free money. No. No. They need to pay hard on this one. Scroll. There's a tweet floating around now. And this is coming from Rasmussen. And it was a poll. There was a poll that was taken. And this is from the Democrats. And I'm just simply going to express it to you as cleanly as I can from the way in which I put it onto Facebook. But I said, reason number, bazillions of numbers there. I think Democrats are raging, and I said blanking raging idiots. You tell them how stuff is going to go. But since it's coming from an information source other than what they quote unquote trust, they don't listen. So you morons asked for this. Remember that. And for putting our country through this BS, you are entirely to blame for where we are now. Oh, but Orange Man is bad. So this is coming from a link on Analyzing America, and it's a Rasmussen poll, and it says, quote, from the Democrats. This is from the Democrats. Excuse me. 32% say Biden should resign now. 40% Biden deserves to be impeached. 33% say Harris is not qualified to be president. Ouch. And these are exclusively figures from the Dems. Holy cow. We told them. We adamantly assured them this is what's going to happen. If you put this man into office, we can guarantee you A through Z of these things that are going to be happening hardcore. Patriot Fever 5 should have been 2 times. Absolutely, dude. This one's going to be really, really huge for the Democrats to really they're losing their minds now, okay? Now, like I expressed to you guys last time, pro, con, whatever, pro or against abortion, it's not really a good law of the land case. It was shoved down the states' throats when it's really more of a states' rights issue. Where, if a state goes, oh, no, we're not going to allow this blanketly to happen here unless, X takes place, or if there's a situation where we find and render verdict under blah, 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 can we, allow abortions to proceed and whatnot. But Roe v. Wade was rammed down their throats. And most states were like, not liking it, dude. Really not liking it. Anyway, so Texas has put a law into place, and it is a huge pro-life victory. This one's coming in from Team Tucker Carlson, but you can find a news story everywhere else. The Democrats are losing their freaking cookies, because if you want to talk about the extreme hard one, hard left, abortion is like literally like it's almost like they've received their benediction, you know? But the Supreme Court refuses to ban or block Texas from the heartbeat law, which virtually bans killing babies, abortion, call what you will. But the Supreme Court of Wednesday refused to block a pro-life Texas law, barring abortions after roughly 6 weeks of gestation. So it's a vote that deals a major blow to Roe v. Wade and foreshadow how the court will handle abortion cases in the future. Now, like I said, Roe v. Wade is not a good law. It was basically it got rammed down everybody's throats. And most of the states that are very kind of Bible Belt were like, dude, no, not cool, not into it. But anyway, what the state says is that it's his law, SB 8, so State Bill 8, bars abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, which can be as early as 6 weeks into the pregnancy. But unlike similar laws passed in other states that have been blocked by the courts, the Texas legislation does not provide criminal enforcement upon abortion. Rather, it relies solely on private individuals for enforcement, empowering citizens to file civil lawsuits against anyone who performs an abortion or, quote unquote, aids or abets the procedure. It is unusual legislative design that makes the law difficult to challenge. So basically, some law guy was like, okay, well, if you're going to look at it this way and it's going to get knocked down, well, let's just go about it this way. So the law went into effect on Monday, Wednesday, after the Supreme Court initially declined to rule on an emergency request to block the law. Democrats across the state and country immediately became unhinged, lamenting that the law unjustly sidesteps legal precedent for abortion established by Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey. Women in Texas reportedly flocked to abortion clinics in the late hours Tuesday night to seek abortion procedures before the law took effect. Planned Parenthood and Whole Women's Health, 2 abortion providers involved in the case, claim the law has caused, quote-unquote, chaos on the ground. Okay, ladies, here's how you handle it. I got to choke up on this one. Stop having sex. Problem solved. Abstinence works every single time it's tried. Oh, you can't avoid the fact that you're going to the club and you're being a slut? Don't raw dog it. And never mind the fact that you're cranking out, and pooping out kids. What kind of other crud are you exposing yourself to? Okay? So anyway, they basically lost their shirt on that one, and it remains to get nibbled around, and this is not a conservative Supreme Court, okay? Believe this one, okay? Believe this one. This is a meme. I'm going to have to translate it, but it actually does truly have a great precedence and shows the way things are working right now. Troops deployed to protect 535 members of Congress against flag-wielding Trump supporters. 26,000 troops. Troops deployed to protect 15,000 American citizens trapped in Afghanistan against actual terrorists. 5,000 troops. Yeah, good luck with that. Scroll. I did post up a meme, and this one's gotten really good response. Everybody seems to really like it. And it says essentially this: when you lock me away in Facebook jail, you don't prove me a liar. You only prove that you're afraid of what I have to say. Yeah, I found that was especially snarky and clean, so I could post that one up. Patriot Fever, and now Biden's talking about deputizing doctors and make them federal doctors. Well, guess what happens if I walk into a doctor's office and they have the placard stating, I'm a federal doctor. Guess what? I'm not using you anymore. I'm going to walk right out the door. I'm going to say, give me a copy of my records here, and I'm going to clean out. Well, we need to have X amount of dollars for that, and we will keep a copy. No, you won't. You will give me all the copies of my patient files because you don't need them anymore. I have them. I can take care of these things myself. I don't know if you heard about this one or not, but there's a gentleman. Let's see. This is well, it's juicy. No, sound guy, not like that, okay? You're making it sound like the guy's attacking a chick. Jesus, dude. I think you got it, okay? I think you got it. No, that's not it right there, right? Stop. Just stop. He's going full circle, folks. Full circle. Full circle. All right. So the mRNA vaccine inventor warns of a setup for, quote, escape mutant virus. Now, I've been saying this pretty much since day one, as soon as I heard about, how mRNA actually physically works. This has never existed in nature, and to expose the human race to an unknown long-term effect, it is frankly criminally insane. So what does this gentleman say? He basically is quoted as saying that, well, it might jump. And that's not even a good phrase to be talking about when you start talking about like genetic anomalies and, species versus species or genetic manipulation on the level, depth, and breadth of which we're talking about here. Because truly, if you're going to be completely honest here, what we are is we're monkeys flicking switches. And we think we know what we're doing, but we don't. Okay? We really don't. Okay? Reason being is anytime you start monkeying around with something that's been adjusting itself and getting it, correct in 3.5 billion years, there's a reason why it's working. It's because it's tried every single version therein before that just went, oh, let's try this divergent trail. Oh, that didn't work. Well, let's try this one. Oh, that didn't work either. I can't begin to tell you how many mutant variant forms there is of different races that probably exposed themselves to, simple existence and just went, it just didn't work. So, this gentleman is the name of Dr. Robert Malone, and he's the inventor of mRNA vaccination technology. So, he's an MS physicist, a physician and scientist who was on Steve Bannon's War Room podcast Saturday with the alarming warning that we're being set up for the, quote, escape mutant virus. Escape mutant virus. He's not good. So unknown side effects which virologists fear which may emerge include existential reproductive risks. Have you heard about people talking about sterility so far after getting the jab? Additional autoimmune conditions, like that whole heart thing going on now, potentially. Various forms of disease enhancement, i.e., vaccines can make people more vulnerable to reinfection by SARS-CoV-2 or reactivation of latent viral infections and associated disease such as shingles. Now, I'm going to take a sidestep for a second here. Now, if you guys know anything about Maryland in general, there's a town called Frederick. Now, the town of Frederick is basically west of my location by about 34, 35 miles or so, maybe 40. It's not that far. It's pretty close. I can get there pretty quick and easy. But anyway, in Frederick, outside the city, a little ways further, is an area called Fort Detrick. Fort Detrick is the area where they stashed all the good yum-yums and bugs and other viral algae that they're playing around with now. And it's basically the place that has the deadliest on deadliest stuff that if you expose people to, they're dead ducks. So this stuff is really not that far away from me, and I cannot begin to tell you the number of levels of security that they have in that place to secure the bugs and secure the people from being exposed to the bugs. It's not like the Wuhan labs at all. Anyway, most of the things that they're playing with there, they try to basically make a bioweapon. What do they base it on? Smallpox. Why? Because if you look at the, like I told about the last time, the RO or the ROT of contagion, all the various things that you could be catching, going all the way up the scale, at the very highest end of the scale of communicability and contagion is smallpox. So if you're going to build a bioweapon, you just go, okay, here's Mr. Smallpox bug, and I'm going to stick this thing in here, this thing over here, this over here, that over here, tag it all together, and see if it isn't something so super deadly, contagious, that it makes a good bioweapon. Oops, we made it. Now what do we do with it? Let's just freeze it in like liquid nitrogen and never, ever let it go, because if it gets out, we're boned. Like terminally boned. We're boned. And that's the kind of crud I have in my own state. So anyway, get back to here. It says, it now appears our current vaccines are likely to offer a mere 180-day window of protection. A decided lack of durability underscored by scientific evidence from Israel and confirmed by Pfizer, the Department of Health and Human Services, and other countries. Here, it's already been warned of the need for a universal, quote-unquote, booster shot at 6-month intervals for the foreseeable future. The obvious broader point that militates the individual vaccine choice for is repeated vaccinations, each with a small risk, can add up to a bigger risk. So it's an arms race with the virus. The most important reason for universal vaccination strategy is impudent tracks the collective risk associated with how the virus responds when responding to vaccinated individuals. Here, basic virology and evolutionary genetics tell us the goal of any virus is to infect and replicate in as many people as possible. And I'll also bounce this one off you guys as well. A virus cannot efficiently spread if, like Ebola, it quickly kills its hosts. Now, back in the good old days, and I'm not talking like really all that long ago, back in the good old days, the cold, standard old rhinovirus, the flu, and probably a couple other things, if you got it, it would just kill you. It would kill you absolutely dead. And it kept killing people until finally there was a mutant variant that somebody got, and they survived. And then that mutant variant was then known as the lesser form, which then became the one that became the propagating one because, obviously it could jump from person to person, replicate, and not kill the host. So those are the ones that are still floating around. And we've been working on the cold and the flu for freaking ever. We've been working on cancer for freaking ever. We've been working on heart disease for freaking ever. But why is it 8 months later we go, oh yeah, we got a cure for this new bug that's never been seen in mankind that was manufactured in a lab in China? What? Yeah, I mean, that was like, the whole thing about, oh yeah, well, this technology has been experimented on like the last 20 years. No, it hasn't. The basic technology has been around, but that's like saying, yeah, well, we got this Chevy small block that's been built since the 1950s, and we got this latest iteration that's in the new Corvette. It's exactly the same technology. No, it's not. It's not running a carburetor. It's not running points, and it's not running the low compression engines with crap gas going into the carburetor. No, it's not even the same thing. That's like comparing basically a bottle rocket to a Saturn V. They both do the same thing, but it's completely different technology in the way in which it does it. So the essence of the arms race is science tells you here, tells us here that today's vaccines, which use novel gene therapy technologies, generate powerful antigens that can direct the immune system to attack specific components of the virus. You're basically making your body do something it really doesn't want to do. Thus, when the virus infects a person with, quote unquote, a leaky vaccination, the viral progeny will be selected to escape or resist the effects of the vaccine. If the entire population has been trained via a universal vaccination strategy to have the same basic immune response, then once a viral escape mutant is selected, it will rapidly spread throughout the entire population, whether they are vaccinated or not. A far more optimal strategy is vaccinate only the most vulnerable. This will limit the amount of vaccine-resistant mutations and thereby slow, if not halt, the current vaccine arms race. That's not what's happening, folks. Fortunately, those already most vulnerable represent a relatively small number, and those cohorts already received high levels of vaccine acceptance. They include senior citizens for whom the risk of serious disease or death increases exponentially with age, or those with specific comorbidities such as obesity, lung, and heart disease. For the rest of the population, there's nothing to fear but fear of the virus itself. This is particularly true if we have a lawful outpatient access to a growing arsenal of specifically proven prophylactics and therapeutics. Hydrochloroquine, ivermectin, zinc. I've been eating zinc. Does it hurt you to have excessive zinc? No. Can it possibly help you to have more zinc in your system? Yes. As a matter of fact, I've heard a stat, and most people don't know about this, but there is a stat floating around now where they found that excessive amounts of, vitamin D in your bloodstream, like 35 micro whatever's per deciliter. It's like some ungodly small amount, but it's like the lab results that you look at. If you're in excess of 35 of vitamin D in your bloodstream, you will not die from COVID. Those people are below that number, always died. Eat more vitamin D. Hello, it's not hard. It's cheap. It's in the store. Get it. Broader goal when administering these agents and moderate to take death off the table, particularly for the unvaccinated. And like vaccines, these agents are generally not dependent upon specific viral properties or mutations, but instead mitigate or treat the inflammatory symptoms of the disease itself. Pfizer is now actively marketing its own antiviral therapy. Tacit admission, Pfizer's own vaccine is incapable of eradicating the virus. Oy. We are not, quote-unquote, anti-vax. What about Dr. Malone invented the core mRNA technology being used by Pfizer and Moderna to produce their vaccines, and he spent his entire professional career developing and advancing novel vaccine technologies, vaccines, and other medical countermeasures. The other, Mr. Navarro, played a key role in the Trump White House in jump-starting Operation Warp Speed and ensuring timely delivery of the vaccines. We're simply saying that just because you have a big vaccine hammer, it is not necessarily wise to use it for every nail. The American people deserve better with universal vaccination strategy under the flag of bad science and enforced through authoritarian measures. I cannot begin to tell you guys just, how much this guy is on point, and he knows. I mean, he literally knows how stuff works. On Labor Day, it's now not just Labor Day, but it's official get off your ass and work day. The unemployment benefits expire for millions of Americans on Labor Day, and the White House will not extend it any further. Let's see. I don't know if you guys saw this one or not, but in mid-December, the survival rate was indicated thusly for kids from 0 to 19 years of age. The survival rate is 99.99997%. Kids are not the ones getting sick with this, okay? They're just not. They're not getting sick and dying. Let's see. Oh, this one's kind of cool. The Virginia Supreme Court drops the gavel and rules the teacher that stood up to liberals has to be reinstated. So essentially what it was is the guy basically stopped, referring to trans students by their chosen they, them, those, that, this, that, and the other thing. And basically referred to them, I think, by name or Miss or Mrs. or, the appropriate, birth, I guess, I hate saying this, but birth, gender appropriate terms. And they tried to burn him for it, and it didn't quite work because, he took it to court and he won. He's going to be reinstated, and they're not going to win this one. This is going to be an operation where I can tell you guys, definitely have enough gun. This one coming from ammoland.com. It was in Wyoming, a Fish Creek bear attack in 2010, and it took a Savage 99 lever action, in 308, and a Taurus tracker in 41 Magnum. So supposedly the guys were walking along, and a bear came out and just charged at him from about 15 feet away, and they just lit it up. So, and the thing about it is this bear was feeding on something and said, "Oh, people." Well, you got to remember too, okay? Here's how things work. Black and brown bears are wimps unless you encounter a female with cubs. Then you got problems. But if you encounter a grizzly, there's a reason why grizzly numbers are not exactly the highest of which they could be. It's because grizzlies just love to scrap. That's just how they roll. If you encounter a grizzly, you're going to have to duke it out with them. That's just all there is to it. There's no other way around it. Grizzlies are stupid like that. They just want to fight. So anyway, these guys engaged the bear, basically lit the bear up, basically, kind of flopped over, and they ran out of ammo. They didn't have like reloads. I mean, they basically had like 5 rounds in the rifle. I think they had like 1 cylinder load on the tracker, and they basically lit the thing up and beat feet out of there because the bear was on the ground, kind of like, basically halfway there. So pretty much they ran out, got reloads, came back, and looking over the bear, they did a field necropsy on it, and they discovered the bear was hit 3 times with .308 caliber bullets. So it was a male. It was 18 years old. It had an unreadable lip tattoo and had been ear tagged, but they've been torn out long before the shooting. So the history of the bear could not be determined. However, that means that bear has encountered people before. It was a known entity, and they knew enough about it that they actually, caught it, marked it, released it, and it was in the mix. And oh my stars and garters, maybe it was still pissed from being grabbed up by the first time, but have enough gun, okay? I would say 308 would be like bottom rung for a bear. Believe it or not, most times you encounter a bear, 12 gauge slugs really make a hell of a dent on a bear. It's definitely going to be impressing something upon the bear when you say, "Hi, Mr. Bear, here's, a 1 ounce blob of lead coming at you at about 1,300 feet per second. Yeah, it's going to leave a mark, and it's definitely going to punch a hole fairly deep into Mr. Bear. Mr. Bear goes, yeah, I'm going to rethink this because I kind of smarted a little bit. So have enough gun." I thought Orange was trying to climb on me again. Let's see. Scroll. And I am out of news feed on that one, so that doesn't mean anything too terrible bad. I've been kind of kicking around the idea. I've actually spoken with a much, much larger YouTube channel, and I've been kind of kicking around the idea about doing a video showing the difference between blade steels and how to identify different blade steels. So, I mean, the classic way obviously is, you obviously have a stainless steel blade. The stainless steel blade will always look like stainless steel. Might get little small rust spots on it, nothing major, but it'll always have, that nice, pretty finish on it. Carbon steel, on the other hand, will pick up something referred to as a patina. That's literally where it gets minor amounts of surface rust, and no matter how much you polish it, it'll always have those little bite marks and chews, and it's always going to get those little tiny indentations and the little nibbles and bites in there. It's adding character to the piece. This one, of course, being a Schrade old timer 150, and these things just feel. It's just such a naturally good feeling knife. I mean, these things, they really truly got the design down perfect. I mean, it literally feels. I mean, besides the fact it's actually just intended to be like a hunting knife, but it really truly does feel like an extension of your hand. It's just a wonderful feeling piece. Now, his obvious jimping on there has a very, very generous joy on board. You cannot overreach this blade. If you overstep this blade and get to the edge, you're doing something seriously wrong, man, because you cannot help but index this thing perfectly. Handle is very ergonomic, has that slight bend in the middle, so curve of your hand just fits perfectly. The sheath is obviously your perfect one piece of move flipped over, and of course rivets and stitches, and it's there's a reason why these things are not cheap on eBay. It's because they really truly tend to get it right. But I'm really kind of kicking around the idea of doing a video on how to identify stainless steel versus, carbon steel or other steels. I mean, obviously there is other stuff out there that looks very similar. I mean, case in point, titanium. Does titanium look like anything other than, maybe like brushed stainless? It really doesn't look that much different in terms of like the actual feel on it. Yeah, the major problem that you would encounter with, anything titanium is it's 5/8 the weight of steel. But is it really that much different that you notice, oh, yeah, this is titanium. It's so nice and light and da-da-da-da-da. It's also really more of an aerospace metal, so it gets really, really expensive anytime you play with it. This is actually a sailing tool. It's basically like a clevis wrench and, of course, a bottle opener. I've had this thing forever. I don't even remember where I got it from, but I've just been carrying it around forever, and it's been, something in the zeitgeist of something I've had in my collection. But, anytime you start talking about, like, blade steels, it gets very complicated very quickly. What kind of steel are you talking about? What's the general makeup of the steel? Does the steel comprise a carbon steel? Is it, some of the really crazy boutique stuff that they call like a dendritic steel, where if you look at the steel and you basically really, really magnify down, you actually have like little chunks of really hard stuff that's in a matrix of standard steel. It's usually like a cast blade, but what it is there's little chunks and nodules of really, really hard stuff. So when you sharpen the blade, you expose these little bitty teeth that cut like crazy. And as the steel is being used, obviously, kind of like a diamond bladed construction saw, where you basically use it, the steel is wearing away and it spits out the diamonds. The diamonds aren't wearing out, they're just wearing off. So it's almost like a kind of like an ablative thing, where as you're using it, you're wearing down the steel and you're actually exposing more things to cut with, kind of like that dendritic thing. I mean, it actually is kind of a rare steel. But if you look it up, there was a couple companies that did make it some years ago, really didn't get a whole hell of a lot of attention. Some companies tried it for a while, basically, threw their idea out there to go, oh, it's going to be our various, version they're in, and we'll see what it does, and we'll proceed thusly. And, there's just all kinds of really crazy stuff out there in terms of like, blade metals now. I mean, the technology to make steel nowadays has advanced so much in the last 20 years. It's all kinds of like, particle stuff and sintered metals, and it's not just like you get a block of steel and that's what you're working with. There's all kinds of really just crazy boutique stuff. Non-magnetic varieties, of course, like I said, titanium, all kinds of stainless varieties, the nitrogen steels that, like Spyderco's playing around with, that are basically that are supposed to be non-corrosive, but I've seen those things look pretty crusty too. So I don't know how dude managed to get it to, air quotes, get it to quote unquote rust, but they got it to do that. And I got to give them credit, man. That took some doing. And anytime that you can make something that's supposedly able to be, plugged into salt water constantly, and you make it start having issues, I'm going to give you credit, man. That took some doing. But anyway, so looking around, for stuff that's going on, pretty much it's status quo for the news phase. I do think it's interesting, though, that the news guys are actually getting a little bit of a reality check, and they're seeing the writing on the wall. People are really getting kind of sick of their crap, and they really sold a bill of goods, and people are really, really not happy about it. They're saying, okay, that of which you gave us is not worthy of nearly the amount of attention to what you ascribe to it. And that's being very kind and basically explaining it as generically as I possibly can. But I got to tell you what, man, that of which they gave us is not so great, because truly it could be said that, well, Mr. is just not all that. He really is just, he's not the guy, okay? He's just not. It can be said that, no, he's more, he's more, that one right there, okay? So, news guys, just don't, okay? Anytime you throw that, anytime you throw that at us, and we're forced to look at the scene of reality versus that which you're exposing yourselves as, you guys really, truly have just made everybody look at you and go, that was fake. Exactly. That was just not real. It was not based in reality. All right, so coming up with the 1 hour time clock period. I appreciate your kind attention. You guys hanging out with me tonight. You got many other things to do, but you hung out with me on a Tuesday. And I appreciate your kind attention. You can find me on, obviously find me on Facebook, Dude Jerky 2. Find me here on the 80s Podcast channel, but you guys hung out with me tonight, and I do appreciate your kind attention. You get a gold star for attendance. And, Twitter, 80SPCC. But I really don't do a whole heck of a lot on Twitter right now. It's just boring. I mean, it's like you pretty much have like, I have a Twitter update and this, that, and the other. Unless they're posting something that is newsworthy and it has like a good link to something, Twitter's really just dry, man. It's dry. It's like being out in the middle of the desert and licking sand going, yeah, that's so refreshing. Yeah, no, it's just not doing it. All right, so I'm going to break up this one, folks. Eat good, keep protecting rings always, you know, you love it. And I know you guys have many other places to go, but you guys hung out with me, and I appreciate your kind attentions. Catch you guys next week, and have a good week. Catch you guys later, and see you guys later. And let me find a button here to push. See you guys.